Did you know that most family fights or broken friendships or even spiritual fall, they start with words? It could be a comment or sharing a secret, that wasn't necessary for us to share. And the church teaches us those aren't just bad habits. They can also do harm to our soul. So today, in this podcast, we're going to look at 5 points, the different, these bad habits, and also show how to overcome them. Very easy steps to overcome these bad habits. And also, I think it's you could say it's a time for making, a good resolutions, like a New Year's resolution, but not just a resolution for us to do in the New Year's, something for the whole of our life, for us to make a resolution to improve on this point. And so for that, today we have with us once again, Father David Ritchie.
Thank you, Brother Vincent.
It's a pleasure to have you here with us, Father.
Be with you, talking about these magnificent topics. And today I hope we can use the word very nobly, very according to God's will.
Well, I'm sure you'll be able to do that, Father. And also, we have with us once again, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Brother Nemish.
Salve Maria. Thank you
Salve
for
Maria.
having me.
Welcome back. Hopefully we won't wait so long for you to be back with us here
No, it's a pleasure.
in the podcast here. So
Does
Father,
does everyone know who Brother Nemish is?
I think pretty much, because
Yes.
he used to be
He used
almost a steady one on the podcast for a while. So
No,
I was on several podcasts.
magnificent.
So Father, how are we going to start these? What would be like the first point?
I think
For us to-
that before we get into the points of exactly what the true and what the recommended use of the tongue,
Yeah.
because we're
okay.
speaking about what the gift of speech.
Mhm.
God gave us the gift of speech, the gift of communication, the gift above all, and that has to do with what God's will is. Therefore, the communication of what He wants us to transmit to others, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why did God give us the gift of the tongue,
Mhm.
the gift of speech, of the transmission? Of course, it's to transmit truth.
Yeah.
So that has to do a lot with testimony, and therefore transmitting to uplift, to take others to their purpose,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? So we always how much do you talk every day? How
Wow.
much time do you spend speaking, talking?
That's true.
I hope not gossiping.
Yeah.
But how long do we spend? The other day I was talking to a group of students
Mhm.
from a part of Latin America, and I asked them. This was a few years ago, and I asked them, "How much time do you spend watching television?" Right?
Mhm.
They said, some of them said that they watch television for 4 or 5 hours a day.
My
Only,
goodness.
Yeah. Only 4 or 5 hours a day. So imagine how much they're hearing from people who are speaking and saying things, transmitting. And the television nowadays, people don't even speak so much. The television, it's more their cell phones and iPhones and things like that. But the transmission of that which is truth, that which is good, that which is uplifting. So God had a purpose. And when, for instance, when we had the chastisement, the punishment for the sin of the Tower of Babel, He confused the tongue, right?
Yeah.
They weren't able to communicate any longer. So they didn't understand what they were transmitting. But of course, St. James speaks about that. He speaks about that if someone does not know how to refrain, therefore to control their tongue, they cannot say that they are religious. Therefore that they are spiritual. That's James chapter 1 26.
Oh, okay.
Read that phrase. That's very important.
Okay.
If you want, I even have it here. I printed it out. But he says, if anyone thinks he is religious and does not bridle, you know what bridle means?
Yep.
Oh. Bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, his religion is vain. Therefore, the practice of how can someone pray and how can someone attend spiritual events and go to mass, go to church, but
they don't control their
gossips.
Yeah.
Therefore, a gossiper, someone who gossips, and that's one of the things we're going to speak about. Different types of gossip, but more profoundly, right?
Yeah.
More profoundly based on Catholic doctrine.
Yeah,
So
okay.
the first point, unless you have something to say about that before we go into our first specific point. And also a little bit on the remedies, I'm going to ask Brother Nemish today to help us with those Indian remedies. I know they have good those remedies, those specific
chili pepper.
chili pepper, right?
That's no more sins of the tongue. No more.
I know there in some households the children would receive a bar of soap in their mouth, right? When they lied, when they lied, their mom or their dad would open your mouth, a bar of soap on your tongue.
I never heard of that.
Never heard of that. Yes, that used to take place. Nowadays, of course, if you do that, you're going to have a
whole problem there.
You're going to washing someone's mouth and their tongue with soap.
Yeah, no, my goodness.
Maybe in India you do it with chili pepper. So,
anyway,
but that's very serious. That's very serious.
It is
controlling the tongue, and of course, the first point that we should speak about is calumny. Right? What is it?
That's the most. Worst of them off.
It's a weapon because calumny can destroy. It can destroy.
Yeah, you're not killing a person physically, but you kill you can kill their honor. You can kill.
Right, you can destroy
their reputation.
The honor, and throughout history, that's happened many times. Even we're going to speak a little bit about secrets, right? You mentioned that in the introduction. Not keeping a secret. Of course, there's different types of secrets that we have to maintain, that we have to keep, that we have to be truthful to. Right? We have to be faithful to. But in any case, what is it? What is calumny? Calumny is when we actually make up something which is not true, untruthfulness, and therefore it's.
And then you go spreading it around to everybody.
Then you don't have to even spread it to everyone. If you tell just one person, then you've already calumniated. You've already
spread a calumny.
You've spreaded a calumny, and it's very hard. I remember one time there was she was a marquise. I think that's
Marquis. Yeah, marquise.
A noble lady, and one day she went to confession. This was in Paris. She went to confession, and she actually had to confess that she had committed a sin of calumny. And afterwards, the priest said, "Listen, I'm going to, for your penance, you're going to take this sheet of paper, this little parchment here, and tear it up into many, many pieces. And when you go home in your carriage, you're going to, on each block, each section of the road that you go by, you're going to take a few of the little pieces of paper, and you're going to throw them into the street. throw them into the street. Okay. Then after that, what are you going to do? You're going to go the same,
Turn around
go down the same road, and you're going to pick up all those little pieces of paper.
Yeah.
And she said, that's impossible. Sometimes it's impossible. Once we spread a lie, calumniated, what can you do to withdraw?
Yeah.
To
take out all that back.
to disclaim that harm that was done. And that's why many times, even if you confess a sin of calumny, you have to make reparation.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you make a reparation? Sometimes it's not that easy. It's just like when you steal something, you have to restore that. You have to make retribution. And how do you make retribution to lies that were spread about someone? You can even sometimes, for instance, if you spread a lie about someone who has a restaurant, they use cat meat in their hamburger, right? You calumniated. They use cat meat in their hamburgers, and then of course the
business goes down and everything.
Sure, they can be.
But I have a question, Father. Is there something like a white calumny that that restaurant owner is a Satanist, for that? So I can't find anything against him. So I just invent that he uses cat meat or rat meat in his hamburger, and is that something good or bad? I mean, I'm going to destroy his business because No, you cannot use a weapon which is untruthful. Therefore you cannot spread a lie about someone who is evil, because you can't use evil to correct evil. Okay.
So even if someone, let's say, he's not using rat meat in his hamburgers, but he consecrates his hamburgers to the devil. There's people who do that. They consecrate their establishment, their store, their institution, and even their restaurant or their bar or whatever, their cafe. They consecrate to evil spirits or to the devils, to Satan. Then can you say that they use rat meat untruthfully? No, you cannot use evil to defeat evil.
Okay.
You always have to use truth.
So there's no justification to calumniate anybody.
No.
It's always something
malice. There's no justification to calumniate. You can never spread a lie.
No matter how bad that person is, you can't.
How bad that person is.
How bad you think that person is.
Of course, even if you came into contact with the Antichrist, could you speak about the Antichrist? Yes, but you would have to say the truth.
Yeah, the truth is bad enough, right?
The truth is bad enough. And of course, we're going to go into another point of regarding who do you have to say that to. Of course, if there are public sins, public deviations, for instance, let's say a congressman is in he's a sinful person, and he's publicly in sin, in public sin, then there's no problem of that public sin be
spread,
not be spread, but be
people
be spoken
revealed.
of, be revealed, be corrected in public, of course. But of course, we always have to have we always have to have truth in mind. Truth is the basis of all speech.
And also, because even when you're going to say something like that, you're doing it for the good of that person, and also the good of the people around, right? I mean, because like you said, someone that's in public sin there, whatever. You're trying to, when you say the thing, because the thing of calumny is that you're doing it not for the good of the person. You're doing it because you want to bring that person down even more, right? It's not because you're trying to help that person. Exactly. That's the thing, the difference, like you said there. When it's a true thing there, you're saying the truth because you want to help that person, right?
In certain cases, like for instance, let's say you have an evil writer that always writes on a site or
Mhm.
in a newspaper or magazine, and does evil,
Mhm.
they spread untruths,
Yeah.
lies, calumnies themselves.
Mhm.
Of course, we can
Denounce.
denounce, therefore,
Mhm.
and use all means, because they're already in the public forum.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
this
So
is another.
that's scandal.
Yeah.
I think this is more linked to detraction, no?
Yes.
Not exactly calumny, because we're talking about something that's true, not making up things.
Right. Exactly. That's one of our points, actually.
Yes. But before we
That
go
we
to
would
that point,
speak.
I have a.
But for instance,
Yeah.
you were speaking were examples. Saint Thomas More.
Okay.
Mhm.
Many people know about Saint Thomas More, right? He was actually the what King Henry VIII used, and those who were the opponents of Saint Thomas More. What did they use? They used a false testimony of Richard Rich.
Mhm.
Therefore, he said that he heard
St. Thomas
speaking ill about the king,
Mm-hmm.
right?
He lied. Yeah.
He lied.
Never.
And that's a calumny because he said it in a public trial.
That was a calumny.
Yeah.
And it was not only a calumny, was he purged. Therefore, it was perjury.
Yeah, perjury, because he even swore on the.
What is perjury? Perjury is when you give false testimony, swearing, therefore,
in the name of God.
in the name of God. Yes.
Ooh. But Father, I'm sure many people are going to ask this. What do I do if I calumniated someone? Normally, I don't receive a penance like the one to tear up
the paper there.
So, but do I have to do something to make up for that, or what can I do? Is there?
First of all, if you should ask for pardon.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You
go
should
to the person, and
you should ask pardon from the person who you calumniated. Therefore, yes.
Oh. Personally.
Yes, if possible, personally, or in writing. If you're not humble enough to say, "Listen, I did speak ill about you. I spread something which was false. I lied about you and made up a story." All that, you might get into a fight, right? A situation that, of course, you would have to be counseled by someone who has greater wisdom. But definitely you have to ask for pardon in confession. Now, if that made this person fall into a situation in which they
great loss
of
damage to reputation,
damage to their, even to their material goods, then some reparation has to be made. Right?
Is it always
pray for them? Like if it was a spiritual calumny, you must pray for them. And in many circumstances, what happened, even there were priests who were calumniated. They were lied about. You take, I remember one story. This took place, and this was in the first half of the 20th century. Must have been around 1930 something. And there was a priest who was attending confession, and a man went and knelt down in the confessional, and then he actually got up, and in the church he murdered someone. In the church he murdered someone.
During confession? No.
Right after confession.
Oh.
And he had confessed to the priest that he was going to kill someone.
Oh.
Yes. And what happened? He he actually left the knife stuck in the person. And right after that, he fled, and the priest went to see if he could save the victim and pulled out the knife and started to take him. And at that moment, the police came in and they found the priest there kneeling over the victim. So what did they do? He said, "What happened?" And he was in silence because he couldn't reveal that secret that the man had confessed, supposedly confessed. And he was under the seal of the secret, sacramental secret. What happened? They took him prisoner. The priest went to jail, and he stayed for over 20 years until one day the bishop came with the city band and played at the door of the prison cell and liberated. And the fellow who had committed the crime before dying, he went and revealed, and he made reparation and told the bishop that he was actually the
actual murderer.
He was the assassin. And then everything was, and the priest was restored to his original honor. So,
because
in that case, of course, it's an extreme case, but there are many other cases throughout history in which.
Yeah, this was not exactly a calumny, right?
It was.
It wasn't a open calumny, but he basically.
it was not, isn't.
He did the whole thing there because he wanted to escape, murder the person, and escape, and left it into the. Gave everybody understand it was the priest that committed the murder, right? So it's.
Right.
That's the thing, because
But you're asking for how to make reparation.
Yeah, and also, is it always a mortal sin to calumniate someone, or it depends on the circumstances?
It depends on the circumstances because, of course, a calumny can be grave.
The consequences.
The consequences can be grave. But for instance, a child in school says that the other one, the other one's is always speaking out of turn. For instance, if the teacher looks up and says, "Who is speaking?" and then one of the students says, "It was the other fellow." He's making a calumny because he's telling a lie.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be a mortal sin in itself, of course. But then, if the person gets accustomed to always lying, then that's very dangerous.
Yeah, it starts like that, right? I mean, it starts with those little things, and then it.
So you can destroy the lives, and you can destroy souls too.
Yes.
Because of the consequences.
So when in doubt, it's always good to ask the confessor what to do, right?
Exactly.
To make up for the.
To make atonement for that calumny. It's always good to ask. Of course.
And a solution. What did it say for?
Yeah, how do?
What would be because unfortunately nowadays, I mean, you see it. It's something that's because like a lot of the saints also say that to practice, I mean, the control of your tongue is impossible unless it's through grace, right? So the best way to ask for those graces there to be able to control yourself would be
guardian angel.
Okay.
Secrets of Father David.
Of course, because we have a guardian, so our guardian can guard our tongue, and above all, maintain us truthful at all times. People who calumniate, usually it's because they want to cover up their own situation. And
justify their own situation.
They want to justify their own situation. Or they have hatred, therefore envy, and they want to destroy someone's reputation, someone's situation. So, of course.
I guess it's always with an excuse, right, and a justification. That person is bad, and he deserves to be calumniated, or whatever, or invent something
Yes,
draw
because
draw conclusions from something that you see.
many times it's because, well, look what he's doing to me,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And that's not just. That's not just. So I can,
Since he's not being just with me, so I don't
then
have to be just
I
with,
don't have to be just with
with
him.
him.
So
Yeah.
just go overboard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Or a person could imagine things like, oh, he entered into the bank and he came out with a huge amount of money, and certainly he must have stolen something.
Oh, that's
so,
rash
yeah.
judgment.
Yeah. Oh, that's rash judgment. That's a different sin, right?
Yeah, that's already going to
That's
But
a
if you
different
do-
sin.
that's a
yeah.
different one.
That's rash
Right.
judgment. But of course, then if the person spread that rash judgment, then that would be calumny.
Yes.
So, well, but we have other
Other
points.
points, yeah.
Yeah.
So
For instance, detraction.
mhm.
Detraction is not the exact same thing
as
as
calumny.
calumny.
Hmm.
Or
Yeah, because the
or
detraction, you're
detraction,
revealing something that doesn't necessarily need to be.
and it's not exactly the same as revealing secrets either.
Oh, okay.
It's a different story. Yeah.
Detraction is
Okay.
a different story. Detraction is like speaking ill about others,
Mm-hmm.
but things that are
Real.
Real. Yeah.
Therefore, but without the intention of doing good.
Okay.
So, like you said, the person went into the bank and they came out with a bag. But there's so many other circumstances. It's a type of gossip,
Yeah.
right? Because even though someone has a defect or they have a problem or they have a difficulty, we don't have the right to speak about someone's ills, someone's situations, unless it is, we have to have 2 points. First of all, it has to be with the right person. It has to be with the right person. Therefore,
The one you're telling.
yes, the one who receives the report or your opinion of that which you consider ill, that which you consider wrong in your neighbor. That person has to be responsible for instance, a parent. You can't just go. Let's say a teacher knows something about someone's children. A teacher knows their behavior.
Tell the whole school there about
right, exactly. They can tell the principal of the school, because the principal of the school is responsible and will talk to the parents, or they can speak to maybe the parents themselves directly and saying, listen, there's a situation that's taking place, and for instance, your child is using the cell phone in classroom, and that's being detrimental because your child doesn't study, and so therefore, even though you're saying the truth, you can only say the truth to the person who has the responsibility of acting and can correct that, to intervene. Let's say you can't just tell truths to anyone, even if it's a sickness, for instance.
Yeah, you make fun of someone that has a certain
nervous tick or something,
disability or something like that. Someone that's limping, and you go keep on making fun of that. There's no reason for that, right? I mean, it's not to help the person, so
you're detracting.
Yeah.
Therefore, it is to lower. What is detracting? Lowering the concept that others have of that person. Even if they're truths, even if it's true, we cannot do that. So of course the remedy is charity. The remedy is wanting to cure, wanting to give the person the abilities, help them overcome. One thing that a lot of people, this is a secret. It's not a secret of confession, a sacramental secret, but it's a secret that I think many priests use. For instance, if someone speaks wrongly about another, not wrongly, they tell the truth, but in a gossipy way.
Yeah.
Then you, as a penance, you recommend that they pray a Hail Mary or they pray something for that person of whom they've like to talk
gossiped
about.
about.
To criticize, to gossip.
Spoke ill of,
Spoke ill of. So they realize that I have to make reparation for that. I have to atone. And
that person's soul, right? They care. It's an
an
act of charity, right? To pray for someone.
It's an act of charity.
It's the opposite of
because if a person has a defect, you want that they overcome that defect.
Many times when we speak ill of someone, it's because we don't want that person to change, right? We like him that way, and we want everyone to know that he's that way. He's like this, and
that's the thing. Because we do it without the thought, like Paul David said, without the idea of doing good for that person.
Yeah,
it's just for
interesting.
So it's the same thing like when the other part, like you mentioned there, about revealing the secrets.
Yeah, no. So what's the difference here? Revealing secrets, and you said there's a difference, right?
Yes, there's a
retraction. Maybe speaking ill of someone, revealing secrets could be the same thing, or is it?
In some circumstances, it could be. It could be because if the person, for instance, let's say the person tells you, I have cancer.
Yeah.
But don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
And then I go and I tell another person, listen, she has cancer. I revealed the secret. That's a type of detraction because they asked they've asked secrecy in that situation. So why do I have to tell someone unless they didn't have the right to that secret? So see, everything goes down to truth and to the right to truth. Do they have the right to know that? For instance, someone calls up your home and says, listen, is everyone at home today? And a 10-year-old boy answers the phone. Is everyone at home? Is mom and dad at home? Can he say no? Can the boy or anyone else say no?
If they are at home? If they are
at home, can they say no, they're not at home? Yes, he can answer yes. Because they don't have the person who's calling doesn't have the right to know. But if it's the boy's dad that calls up and says, listen, is your older brother at home? And he says no, then he's lying.
Or that he knows that his brother shouldn't be out. And he says, oh, yeah, he's here at home.
Exactly.
So
he's here at home.
To the thing.
He knows that his father is trying to make sure he's there, and then.
So I can say no if the person doesn't have the right to know.
It's because they don't have the right to know.
Oh.
That even something similar to that happened in the French Revolution.
Okay.
There was a noble. There was a nobleman who was fleeing from the revolutionaries.
Yeah.
They went into the house of a bishop.
Oh wow.
And they said, is so-and-so here, this person they were searching for? And he said, listen, he's very close. If you run, you'll probably find him. You might find him. If you run, you might find him. So they got on their horses and ran off. Of course, he was close by, but he was close by, shut up in the closet. He was, so the person... Why? Because
they were wanting evil for that person.
Exactly. Right? They wanted evil. And they didn't have the right to know where that.
But you couldn't, that bishop didn't lie. Because there were other saints also that had the same, did things like that too, right? I mean, that was pretty in the line of what you said there from the French Revolution too.
So you can ask, can you, for instance, in that circumstance, can the child outrightly say, no, mom and dad are not at home? Can they outrightly say that? It's the same thing. It's the same thing if I ask you, how are you doing today? And you have a headache right?
Yeah, you don't have to go and say,
I don't have to
"Oh,
say,
I got this headache and I don't know what this." That's
You
no,
can
I'm
say,
fine.
Fine.
right. Are you gonna tell the 10-year-old boy? Of course, you can't get them accustomed that they can always tell something which is not true.
Yeah.
A child, that's very delicate with a child. But of course, there were saints who used mental restrictions.
Mental restriction. What is that?
A mental restriction is where in the same type of cases, someone doesn't have the right to know. For instance, there was a saint in which there were revolutionaries who came into the house and said, "Listen, have you seen so and so?
Are you?
And did so and so come into this house?" And he said, "No, he's not here." And the saint went like this, "No, he's
Pointing to his
not
sleeve.
here."
Oh,
Pointing to his sleeve. Yeah, he's not in my
And
sleeve.
then he went,
That's
"No, he's not here." And went like this, "No, he's not here. I haven't seen him here." And of course, he didn't see him in his sleeve. He wasn't there. So
they
he
have a s-
made he restricted mentally.
Yeah.
And of course,
he understood what he
they
what he
said,
wanted
"No,
to.
here in this vicinity, but in my sleeve,
No,
the
he's
person
not
was not found."
They have a sense of humor, and it worked.
And it worked. So
Yeah.
they believed in him, but he restricted, of course, because
But you have to have it be cleared you have to have a serious reason why to do those mental restrictions too, right?
above all that they don't
Right.
they don't have the right to
Yeah,
that.
because some people
that-
think that you can use mental restriction for everything,
For
right?
everything.
So, but
Exactly.
but not. It has to be something that.
I remember one time when Professor Plinio Correia de Oliveira, when he was the person who formed the founder of the Heralds of the Gospel, Monsignor João, for 20 years was the secretary of Professor Plinio, and already for 20 years previous, therefore they lived closely for 40 years. But regarding the truth, he was absolutely very,
Particular, yeah.
very, very specific, very careful to never offend truth.
Mhm.
And one time he had a car
Mhm.
that they needed to sell, and the car had a vent which wasn't in order. They had actually made a little like a
They closed it off.
they
Basically,
closed it off with cardboard or with plastic in order for that ventilation to do. It was a
There was a
defect
problem with defect with the air conditioning. It
with
would
something
always
that
be
had to
blowing
deal
on
with
on the feet.
air conditioning. So when they had to sell the car, Professor Plinio told the person who was responsible, said, "Listen, when you sell the car, you have to tell the buyer, the new owner, that there's this defect in the car, because it wouldn't be truthful if you said that the car is in perfect
because the
perfect
value of
state,
the vehicle would be different.
a perfect state, if you don't mention that there was something that was a type of
That's
problem.
temporary. It was a temporary makeshift, let's say."
Yeah.
But actually, nobody knew that that this car had this defect because
No.
Dr. B never told anyone.
Yeah.
Right? He suffered that in silence,
Yeah.
Yes.
and only when the time to sell it is when he revealed it.
Yes.
I mean,
But I
that's
think
an excellent example.
at a certain point, they had remedied that situation with a temporary remedy, with a temporary
Oh, okay.
close.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, he had suffered some time with the draft, the draft of the wind that would come in for some time until they corrected that situation. So
Interesting. Yeah. So yeah, he told because they have the right to know, right? The people who are buying it. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So the thing is, on this part here about the mental restriction is to make it clear there is that it has to have has to be a reason for you to use mental restriction. And then, like you said, Father, if the person has the right to know or not. If the person has the right to know, you can't use the mental restriction, right? So
exactly. There was even a little case with Saint Athanasius. Saint Athanasius was being searched for, and they went to because of religious disputes, and there were some soldiers who were favorable to him, but others came after. They wanted to arrest Saint Athanasius, and they said, listen, where is he? Have you seen him? And they were rowing a boat, and Saint Athanasius was hidden in the boat, and they said, yes, he's very near. But they were rowing farther. They were rowing off.
And nobody knew that it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, of course, that was somewhat of a mental restriction that was.
Because there was one, I think it was also in the French Revolution. I don't remember who it was. It was a noble or something too, where the revolutionary police caught up with him, and they asked, did you see this noble? Did he pass by here? And he said, yeah, he's on the road. He's on the road.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's there. It was him, right? He's on the road. They didn't ask if he was there. They said, did you see him? So he's on the road. So they went running off to go search. So but you have to have.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
The person they wanted evil for that person, and then they
had no
so
right.
There was no right to know.
Exactly.
So, okay.
And for instance, does a mother have to testify against their child? That's another question that you can ask. The Catholic doctrine says that a mother does not have to testify against her child.
Oh.
Okay.
Even in court, no.
Well, I don't know about civil law.
Okay.
I know in civil law, I remember hearing things in the past of the time there was never nowadays maybe it changed, but before it was that a spouse can never testify. They can never use the spouse, one spouse testifying for against the other.
But I suppose they can't even they can't defend the person when he's wrong either, right? Or
therefore, to give false testimony.
Yeah.
Exactly, because that would be.
Oh, they just I understand.
You can't put the mother in that position where
she has to say something about.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. How the church is a mother.
Exactly, but of course, in situations there are situations which are terrible. For instance, if a son is a murderer, and then does the mother have to reveal that her own son committed that crime? That's a good question.
Yeah, that is. That is in what?
But technically, a mother never has to testify against against her children. And that's an interesting point.
That's something that I don't think anyone knew. I didn't.
But what's the remedy? Therefore, the remedy if someone is accustomed to like stretching the truth.
Okay.
Stretching the truth, saying even there's something about truth, exaggerating about someone, that what you did or what you didn't do, telling a little story. That's also very dangerous.
Yeah. You're getting close to the detraction or even calumny too, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, stretching stretching the truth. But what is the principles? Therefore,
how do I get over it? Yeah,
especially
in the case of a family, everybody's gossiping, or in my friend circle, everyone's gossiping about something, or in case of telling the truth, right? Or
Saint Catherine Labouré, when amongst the nuns, when they were like speaking. Gossiping one about, she would always put her eyes down, and she would stop talking. But ideally would say something, say, let's not speak about this right now, or let's not speak about him or her right now. if you can bring up a positive point, say,
Mhm.
listen, that might even be true, but are we going to solve that? Are we going to remedy that? This conversation is it on the right track, on the right purpose? Does it have the right purpose?
Yes.
So
Sorry, yeah, I distracted you. You were talking about how the other thing, right? Of not telling the truth to people who don't have the right to know.
yes,
Yes.
that
Sorry.
exactly. That's one of the points is
Yeah.
exactly that, is that we have to ask ourselves, does that person have the right to know? For instance, you come out of a meeting
Mhm.
and the person says, well, what took place in that meeting?
What do you talk about?
What did you talk about? Or you have a conversation. What did you talk about on the bus, in the car, in the plane? And does that person have the right to know?
Yeah.
And so if we take that into account, or another question that you make to yourself is what is that going to do good for that person?
Mhm.
Is that, do they have the right? And
Is it gonna
Even if
be-
they have, yeah.
is that going to be good for that person that they know this?
Interesting. Yeah.
Is it,
Yeah, that's
does
really
it,
very
is it edifying? Is it going to
interesting.
be edifying? So that you can keep out of a lot of trouble,
Yeah.
especially on the last judgment, because our tongue, we're going to be responsible, and in purgatory, we're going to pay for idle words too, even for idle words
Yep.
that we're going to have
I
to.
think that's more or less the next point we're going to be getting into the words, right? The different
Yeah.
idle
But-
words, even worse, harsh words, or
Okay. That's interesting.
Harsh words and idle words, because words can be constructive, and they can be devastating too. Words
Sure.
can be,
They can build up, or they
Yeah.
can.
for instance,
Yes. Even if it's
bring
something
down.
true, the way that you say some things can make a difference, no? Well, yeah.
can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Even, for instance, remember when the Pharisees sent someone to verify, to listen to our Lord Jesus Christ, they came back and said, no one has ever spoken as him.
Wow.
Remember that?
Yeah.
No one has ever spoken as him. Therefore, that whoever listened to our Lord Jesus Christ was always uplifted. They were, something penetrated, and something made them want to be virtuous. So words can uplift, can sanctify. And of course, St. Paul says that faith comes through the word.
Yeah.
The years.
Yes,
You hear it.
that
Yeah,
you,
of course, the
of
word.
course, it comes the word that you hear. Of course, it could be examples too, but the word penetrates the ear. Therefore, faith comes in through the ear. But what do you hear? Words of faith, right? Words of faith edify, promote faith in the heart of the listener.
Yes. Okay.
You have to listen in order to believe. But what do you have to listen to? To words. That's why St. Paul spoke so much. And we have every Sunday we have words the words of his letters, the words of his counsels. So that's something which is very
Yeah, because
beautiful
it's also something. The illustration of the good words you could say is like what Saint Francis showed, that being courteous or the ceremonial and stuff like that. There are ways that they help in Christian charity, and that way elevate the people, like you said, right, with our Lord, by hearing those words there, elevates the person and helps us to rein in our tongue, like you said in the beginning there. We need to have that, the bridle, right? Sometimes the bridle, your tongue there, hold right, your.
What can one harsh word do? I remember there was a story of a man and woman, husband and wife, and the wife said to
I like Father David stories.
the wife, she said that she could never ever get along because her husband always had harsh words and never pardoned, was never understanding. And of course, the women are more honest in some sense, in the sense that at least they confess their sins. And so, what did the priest tell? He was a saint. I forgot the name of the saint who said to the woman, said, "Listen, I have the remedy to your husband's harsh words.
Okay.
You know what? It's a very good remedy. You're going to solve this." She said, "No, that's impossible. His words are so harsh that
it's impossible.
It's impossible. There's no remedy. I'm despairing." So, "No, listen, here. I'll give you this jug of water, a bottle of water. And what are you going to do? Next time that he says a harsh word, you're going to open the bottle, take off the lid, and put a little bit of water into your mouth. Then you're going to count to 10 with the water in your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 10. Then
swallow the
discard the water or swallow it. And then see what happens. Because I guarantee that the harsh words are going to get over." And so the next time she went home, she felt, "Well, I'm going to put this in a strategic place, this bottle of water." And then her husband came and said, "Oh, this food is terrible. Couldn't you make something,
a little better there?
Better for dinner? Always the same rice and beans." And so then she was going to say, "Well, if you want, you go eat out in the restaurant." But she didn't say anything. She took the water and drank a little bit of water and counted to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. After 10 seconds, then the husband didn't continue with the harsh words. He let that thing dropped off into the...
dissipated there.
Dissipated. Then, but after a little while, he said, "Look, how strange." But he wasn't seeing what was going on. She just see that she remained silent. And then he said that he rumbled about something else. Said, "Oh my goodness, get the water again," and put it. And then after rumbling a second time, he didn't rumble a third time. So it worked. The first day it worked. And then she said, "Oh." So the saint
miraculous water, right?
Miraculous water. Miraculous water. The miraculous patience is miraculous sometimes. Of course, in that case, it was something that,
because when he would give the harsh words, she would say harsh words back.
Yeah, that's what she didn't tell the priest. One tell the saint.
One would he'd be putting fuel in the fire, right? So
fuel in the fire. So there's a saying: when one doesn't want, two don't fight. So
that's true.
That's
when one doesn't want to, two don't fight.
So the best way to control those harsh words and everything there, if somebody's saying with you, is be silent to them. Interesting. That's a good.
But of course.
But we need the spiritual side too, right, Father? We need, of course, everything with prayer and everything. And one thing I just wanted to mention there, I'm sure will help with all these. So far, we're going to pass through 3 points here of our 5 points. But I was hearing all these things that you're saying, it reminded me that I think the way for us to help us avoid all these bad things would be placing ourselves in the hands of our Blessed Mother, right?
Oh,
consecrating oneself to her as slaves of love, because then she will help us when those times come up where you get that urge to spread that secret they shouldn't spread, or to say a lie about someone there. She will help us to refrain, right?
It's not a glass of water, but it's something. It doesn't sound like something strategic that consecration to Our Lady will actually help in this, but she's the queen of providence. No, she can maybe.
We can never imagine a lie coming out of the mouth of the Blessed Virgin Mary. She was a virgin in everything, and a virgin in speech. And when
never a harsh word or nothing.
Profanities or unimaginable.
Yeah.
What came out of her word was, we see the words, few words in Holy Gospel, but we have the Magnificat, and we have other moments when she answered the angel Gabriel.
Yeah.
And
on the wedding feast was she, but she's always pointing to. When she would, the few words, she's always pointing towards God, right?
Towards God.
And elevating.
Extremely beautiful. And that's one thing that, of course, when you consecrate even your mouth to the Blessed Virgin Mary, when we consecrate
it's our whole being, right?
Tongues,
our whole being.
Yeah.
Everything. We consecrate our tongues, our way of speaking, the way of speaking, because it's necessary to have a beautiful vocabulary, to develop our vocabulary, and also finding beautiful ways of addressing others. Nowadays, there's a great tendency towards vulgarity.
Yeah. That's so true.
And therefore, not only using words which are indecent, but words which are slang or vulgar, that brings about an atmosphere where untruths find company.
Yeah, that's true. It's like
they're vulgar words or vulgar vocabulary, or things that
low level. I mean, it's things that are just
like cousins of lies, therefore untruthful, because they're tarnished in another way.
Yeah.
So they're dirty, let's say, or they're unclean words.
For sure.
Well, even though they may not be impure words in themselves, but they're already vulgarity is already using, and even of course words that are,
they evoke images, right? Imagery of of vulgar things.
Exactly. And even nowadays in social circles, you even see things that are written on T-shirts.
Yeah.
Written on T-shirts that are extremely call to mind that which is less noble in human relationship.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
more animal or something like worse than not even animals.
I remember Professor Plinio, he said that when he was in school, and this was in 1920, 21, he said the kids there, I just use that word, the kids.
Yeah.
And we use that so much in America and Canada. I don't know if they use that in India too, the word, the kids. But even a word which is kids is less noble than using the word children.
Yes, the kid is a goat, right? The goat's child.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's technically a kid in if you look in the dictionary, that's a baby goat. That's a baby goat. So, but how did that enter into common use? Someone who was wanted to put down, like to lower, to describe in a less charitable way, So, oh, Father, but you're being so scrupulous and yes, but how does language decay? And decays in that fashion. But we can never use something which we always have to be like we're in Maria Antoinette's antechamber of the banquet hall, and always be using the elevated like in the House of Commons in England or something. No, it's not. It's not that. But we have to always use words that are charitable. Imagine the first kid that was called a kid.
Yeah. The insult it could have been calling
It
a
wasn't
person a goat.
exactly.
You
And
don't go call the
that's what I was saying. Professor Pliny, he said that the children, that the boys, they would like bump up against the other and say, "Oh, bisho," which means animal.
Animal, yeah.
And so
they were calling each other animal.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And many times things come in lower level, or which are, of course, we're not talking here about outright
profanity.
Yeah, exactly. But some things that bring in a lower atmosphere that creates
That feeds
the culture of being able to lie, being able to use things indiscriminately. And therefore, barriers are
broken down.
And
well, you could say the same thing about you had mentioned just a little while ago about St. Catherine Labouré with gossiping. Gossiping is that too, right? You're lowering down because there's no such thing as gossiping about good things, right? Elevated things. Nobody gossips about that.
Yeah, it's
always about something that's low, right? It's always something that's, they said, the lowest part of a.
You can't actually.
So that I think that's very important, and we can go on to.
So that's point number 3, right? The harsh words
yeah.
Yes.
Vulgar words and things like that. That's
joking.
Yeah.
Joking unnecessarily. Joking unnecessarily. What is a joke? It never uplifts someone. Actually, that's different from being. I remember Monsignor Jean once time there was a situation in which he was in the sacristy, and there was a deacon who's now a herald priest, and this deacon had a specific tonality to his voice, and it was something which was very peculiar. And then one of the herald young men who were there in the presence of Monsignor Jean imitated his voice, because he said something which was like somewhat funny, naturally funny. And so they imitated, "Oh," or something like that. And then Monsignor looked surprised and said, "What? No, he's a deacon." It only wasn't, he was saying, he said, he's sacred. He was already ordained. So you're going to make fun of him?
Oh.
And he said, "Listen, sometimes I make fun of people or joke about characteristics of that person, but I never do it to lower. To like bring them down, to set them down, to humiliate, to discourage. I always do that in a way which makes them feel part of the situation." So, of course, there are ways of joking, there are ways of being light that bring about a certain, like I remember some sisters even mentioned to that recently. I don't know where it was. They went into someone's house, but they weren't very acquainted with the people there. And so that they realized that the owner of the house had homemade beer. And so they said, "Oh, I'll accept a beer," right? And so the person realized, "Oh, these people are normal," right? Because many things, someone comes in this dress, in this habit, and they must be from a Martian, from some place in the Star Wars. No, but religious many times can drink beer, can drink wine without, of course, never excessively, but that's part of it. As long as you're educated and you want to. So what comes into question again is being charitable.
So
love of
you
God,
see all these ones here.
Love
All
of
of them.
God.
You could say the solution is always charity.
Yeah.
For all the ones up until now, so far, it's always been that. If you're charitable, you won't.
Yes.
Yeah. The proof that you love God is that you love your neighbor, right? That's
yes.
That's
And
hard.
restore truth, restore honor,
elevate the person.
Restore truth, restore. When of course restore truth, you restore the honor of your neighbor.
No.
Of your neighbor. So I think we'll go to the fourth
The fourth
point, Brother Vincent,
Yes.
which is we already talked a bit
You
about that,
mentioned about the
Yes,
but
they're like
which is gossip,
gossiping. Yeah.
listening to gossip. But how many times over the phone do we hear gossip? What's the worst thing with gossip? I think we already dealt with that. But the worst thing of gossip is that we're losing time and speaking about things which are deal with lower aspects, with common aspects of daily life. With deals with common and
But now unnecessary things.
not
right?
only
secondary things.
secondary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Frivolous.
Trivial, futile, useless. Many times useless because it's a common, and that's one of our great tendencies after original sin. Right.
Good. The fall down.
Of course, the tendency.
Gravity.
Yeah.
Gravity. I remember Monsignor João speaking about that. He said, when we talk, when we have conversations, we always have to try to elevate, use that which elevates. He said, I only know one person that when you would like kind of let them loose, when you would let them go, hold, they would go up. He said, everyone has to make an effort. You start talking, for instance, we're in a podcast today. Yeah. So in order to think about what doctrine says, you have to make a little effort. You have to think, you have to reflect, you have to develop ideas, right? So if you're making an effort, you're going up against gravity, right? You're moving gravity, but normally that's what happens.
If you don't
make an effort, you go down. And he said, I knew one person who was Professor Plinio. When you would you let him loose, he would go up.
Yeah.
You let loose, he would go up. So, because why? Because he was so accustomed, and he had a soul which was so looking forward to that which was above, heavenly things, that his mind would always go up. But gossip always goes down. Yeah. Did you ever hear someone gossip about about a beautiful book, which they were gossiping about the lives of the saints?
Never. Yeah, that's the thing, because gossiping is always, because deep down the gossip is you're making fun of someone for no reason, not for the good of the person, but to bring them down. You don't like them. They did whatever there. You're envious of them, so you start spreading that's what they.
Yes, brother. I think that gossip,
or sometimes it's also the desire for novelties, right? To know the latest and
the latest information, be in tune, informed.
Intemperance, not something like pepper and spice.
Yes, that's a good word. Intemperance, intemperance. Always to want to know the latest little thing. So, of course, contemplation is the remedy for gossip. Contemplation. Like contemplation want to be in. What is contemplation? It's to reflect on that which is superior, to meditate on that
which is higher, and which is
higher, which is superior. And we go into our fifth point: using the tongue well.
Okay.
Using the tongue well.
Well, we kind of also spoke about that.
We've talked a little bit about that.
Each
overlapping
our
topics kind of overlap. So we spoke about that. But I think in order to use the tongue well, we have to ask for that grace. And of course, if we honor God and we thank God for the gift of the tongue. The gift of the tongue. It it wasn't fortuitous that the Holy Spirit came down as tongues
There's
of
a fire.
fire.
There was a
Sure.
reason, yeah.
There was a
Mhm.
reason why
Mhm.
the Holy Spirit came down upon Our Lady and the apostles as tongues of fire.
Mhm.
What does the tongue of fire mean? That means the tongue of fire means you have a mind and to express what's in our soul and our desires according
Okay.
to that fiery
Mhm.
will of God.
Yeah.
Right? The
Interesting.
Spirit of God, the
Mhm.
Spirit of God, when the Spirit of God penetrates, then the desires of the person, their whole enthusiasm, their whole mind
Mhm.
is directed, their whole being is directed towards
Towards the heavenly
heavenly things.
but on our own we can't. It's
Mhm.
impossible for us with our own
I
own strength.
I
We
remember
can't.
something very beautiful in heraldry,
Mhm.
in symbolisms.
Yeah.
The tongues of fire, many times they were the like a flame
Yeah.
that was with little
Pointed
flames
down.
was
Little flame.
pointed
Mhm.
down. And when Professor Plinio, when he was decorating one of the houses,
Mhm.
He asked that
The flames be.
the artist, he said, listen, I know that that's not the original form. He
Mhm.
said, but he said, place the flames. He said, well, you're
Upwards.
going to paint a stripe
Mhm.
of red, and then you're going to put gold flames, but I want them going up.
Up.
Mm.
Because
Interesting.
he said, because that is our desire. He said, our desire is that our soul be inflamed
Mhm.
with wanting to go up,
Up.
to reach and
Mhm.
to spread that which
Interesting.
is elevated,
Mhm.
to go up to heaven, to meet with what God wants to send us. Therefore, our soul is on fire
Mhm.
in order to meet with that which comes from above.
Oh,
Oh, that's
wow.
that is really.
Do you remember that commentary?
No, I don't remember that commentary because for us now, I mean, because in several of the churches and other places and in the heralds,
Yeah,
you always see the flames going upwards.
I didn't even know that the flames were going downwards in the past.
So
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. That's interesting. That's because it makes sense. I mean, if you look at the naturally, the flame, it goes up too, right?
Right.
The sparks go up. Everything it's always it's going
Yes.
it's going upwards. So
Exactly.
that's but we need to ask. Like you said, the spirit, we have to pray. We have to
So-
ask for that because if
yeah.
not, we're not naturally speaking, like Father said, the law of gravity, everything goes down, right? So what you're
Yes.
about to
No, I was saying, what you're trying to say is that we have to, it's not just, God is trying to help us, yes, but there's some strategy or something that we have to do to help God.
Do we
Right.
have an open mind, open soul?
Yes.
There's, of course,
Like
there's
we've spoken about what we shouldn't do, don't do this, don't do that. But now, yeah, you're going to try to say, what you're trying to say is that we have to, now it's what we should do to avoid these things, or
yes,
to make like a defense, like a barrier. I don't know.
make a plan, a battle plan,
mm-hmm.
a strategy
Yes.
of how to avoid, not only to avoid evils of the tongue, but to use the tongue in order to
Raise things to
build,
God. Huh?
to construct. Of course, one of the main ways that the church sanctifies is through preaching. It's through teaching,
Mm-hmm.
and of course correcting as well.
Mm-hmm.
Correcting as well, but it's exactly that. If good is always, if truth is always being spread, if charity is always being
Mm-hmm.
spread,
Yeah.
therefore you have but you have to ask for that grace.
Yeah.
You have to ask for that grace of always using your tongue according to God's will. That's one of the things that we have to do when we wake up.
Yes.
When we wake up in the morning, we have to ask that everything is done for the greater glory of God, but also asking that all of the gifts that we received be used only for God's
God's glory, right?
God's, for the majesty, for the glory of His divine majesty, as Saint Ignatius would say so many times.
And the best and easiest way for us to do that is through our Blessed Mother, right? She's the one there. We mentioned earlier on in the podcast about the consecration. So for those of you that haven't made your consecration, don't know about the consecration, we're going to leave a link in the description. So click on that link because that will help you if we have those problems. We all have those problems of idle talk or gossiping or whatever like that in our Blessed Mother for sure. If we place ourselves in her hands, she will solve it. She will help us to get out of those bad habits.
Yes. And many times, in order to get out of a bad habit, you have to do the contrary. So it has to be a little bit artificial.
Yeah.
Like you could make a resolution. Every day, I'm going to tell someone at least one little story, one little fact about something that was beautiful, or even something that I observed, something that for instance, someone told me a while back, not too long ago, a conversion story. There was someone who was pagan, not even baptized.
Okay.
But one day, they were out of their country, and they actually went into a church. Just the fact that they went into the church, they received that atmosphere, that ambience, that surroundings, elevated them, and they said, "No, I have to change. I don't have peace." Then they started to inform, and they started to inform themselves about who had made that church, who had built that church, who evangelized there. Then they were instructed, they got baptized, they received baptism, and they received peace of soul. So many times we, through our tongue, through our words, through our incentivation, we can confirm that which grace says, right? So,
because a lot of times, like Monsignor used to tell us all the times, there's that God he is, not that he's humble, he is humility. So a lot of times he uses the excuse of something that we've said or we do to give that grace to someone. So if we say do something elevated, something they do that for the good of the others, then God uses it as an excuse to be able to help that person, right? To give a special grace for that person. So
absolutely. And so, brother, I think that's our conclusion for today.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, brother.
The 5 points that we have to follow. Watch out with some things, and of course aspire to that which is elevated, using the gift, the great gift of the word, the great gift of the tongue.
Take things up, right?
To go forward, to go upwards,
to launch a crusade of the noble speech, noble talk. That means when we call noble talk, that which has to do with what is most
elevated,
spiritual,
most
that represents God.
Linked, and most speaks of God. I remember someone who would say something so beautiful, which was that a mother should always speak to the children about God, and always to speak to God about their children.
Interesting.
That's true.
Always
speak to the children about God,
and always speak to
God about their children.
Interesting.
Well,
so we can do that. We can always use our tongue to speak about God, and always ask God to sanctify our tongue.
Thank you. Can ask God to bless us.
Thanks.
Let's ask that the word of God sanctifies our tongue, that we may use his gift of speaking, of telling, of proclaiming the truth of his word and his name. And may the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit come upon you and remain with you forever.
Amen.
Salve Maria.
Salve Maria.
Salve Maria.